Let me make a couple of very brief points. First of all, everybody needs to become a member of WBAI. I don't know if any of you, how many people here are members of WBAI? If you're not a member of WBAI, for a minimum pledge of $25, you can become a member. Now, what this gives you the right to do is to vote in the next election. And part of the problem has been this electoral process, because we have these folks who've been elected, who now have the majority on the local station board, and that's a problem. So, those of you out there who are not members, you've got to become a member before June 15th in order to vote. So for a pledge of $25,
3 hours of volunteer work.
You know, 3 hours of volunteer work, you can become a member of WBAI. So now, all of you out there who know people who listen to WBAI, who are not members, for that minimal commitment of either $25 or 3 hours of volunteer work, you can become a member. That's important. Okay? The other thing is that there is this discussion sometimes about programming, and that these folks have given programming racial characteristics. But if you look at programming, there's only two types of programming: good programming and bad programming. Okay? Now, there are all kinds of folks. There is no specific racial component to creating good radio or bad radio. All right? And there are very clearly, you know, people of every race and ethnicity who create good programming, and people of every race and ethnicity who create bad programming. So that's how you have to evaluate the program, not in terms of its racial characteristic. And then, of course, I mean, despite the fact that some of us are who we are, you know, when I do radio, when I, you know, have, you know, whoever I'm going to have, whatever kinds of guests, whatever kind of programming that I'm doing, where I'm dealing with issues of education, right? You know, it's something that I think anybody who's interested in education can listen to. That you don't have to be any kind of race and ethnicity to be interested in that. You don't have to be any gender specifically in regards to doing that. And some of us are quite aware, you know, to the fact that there is a gender component to the kinds of programming that we have to do. So we say, well, listen, if I'm having a panel and I've got 4 panels, I can't have 4 men. I've got to have some women as part of this particular panel. It's a kind of decision that we make. The other thing is people need to listen to WBAI. And you also need to see if you can get other people to listen to WBAI. Because one of the criticisms is, well, you know, we've got not enough listeners. All right? And in a market like New York, there should be more people listening to WBAI. But there's so many people who do not know about WBAI. They may, you know, move the dial or whatever, and be in the car or at home or wherever, and they hear something. Oh, this is pretty good. What is this? WBAI. I never heard of WBAI before. So there's work, obviously, that's going to have to be done in regards to getting the message out that WBAI exists, that it provides some kinds of interesting programming that looks at a lot of different kinds of things. The kinds of things that Bernard, Spanish language programming. You know, it's like, you know, it's there. You know, to go ahead and look at women-specific programming. To look at programming that deals with the issues of, you know, gay, bisexual, transgender community. You know, going ahead and these are programs that are on. So there is, in fact, something there for all different kinds of communities. And that's important as we attempt to try to build community. But right now, I think that's probably the place where we are. The idea is that we need to see how we can build community, and that it's going to be ultimately the community, people who listen to WBAI, who ultimately are going to have the responsibility in regards to saving it.